Morning, welcome back to the channel. It's going to be quite the steamy day today, and I'm really not going to do any sort of heavy lifting or any sort of work, as it were, until this evening because it's just going to be too hot. The temperature was supposed to get up to around 90 today, and we just had 4.5 inches of rain over the last few days, and all that right now is evaporating. So it is incredibly steamy out here, really humid. Not a good working environment, as it were. That being said, I do want to do a few updates, let you know what's going on around the garden and what to expect in the upcoming, probably next couple of weeks. So let's do that now, starting here in the veg garden. There are many things that are growing here in the veg garden, and there are things that are going over. So what I'm thinking is Monday, I'll do a full veg garden tour. So mark your calendars. Hit the subscribe button, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. So Monday, I'll do a full veg garden tour. Not going to do it today just simply because A, it's a little too warm, and B, I do want to talk about some of the other things that are happening here around the garden and touch on all of those. But here in the veg garden, I have birdhouse gourd, which is really starting to take off now with the heat and humidity. I don't know if you guys can see it here in the camera. I'm trying to look in the viewfinder here to see how viewable it is. But I built a sort of height extension to the fence, as it were. And I have the birdhouse gourd climbing up that. It's also going along the fence line, which is really fun. So hopefully by the end of this growing season, probably trying to think, because this is the second year we've grown birdhouse gourd. The first year, I do have a handful of gourds that have survived, and I'm going to make birdhouses out of them. I'll talk more about that in the future. But for now, I'm hopeful that these give me quite the good crop, and then hopefully in next spring or so, summer, there'll be birdhouses to be had. The other thing here I want to show you, sweet potatoes. These have really taken off. When I got them, they were little wispy things. If you've ever grown sweet potatoes before, you know what I'm talking about. The slips, that's it, slips. Woo. The slips are little wispy things, but you take them and you stick them in the ground, water it all, and then before you know it, this happens. And this really only started happening in the last week or so, which is awesome. I did read a thing online from the vendor who sold these, stating that if you're growing them like in a raised bed, to keep the vines about 3 foot long, which is what I've been doing. I've been doing little trims here and there just to keep the vines around that 3 foot mark. And apparently what that does is causes, I guess, a little bit of stress on the plant, which then forces the plant to make big old sweet potatoes underground. We're going to find out. We're also going to find out whether, if they get any insect damage and how that all pans out. But hopefully in the fall, I'll be harvesting a lot of sweet potatoes. We'll find out. What else do I want to touch here in the veg garden? Oh yeah, the corn. Now the corn has been growing since long ago. And I've already harvested 2 ears. They weren't that sweet, but they were edible, and not all of the kernels matured. I guess that has something to do with pollination and all. This one actually feels pretty full. I'm not going to open up these right now because I'm not ready for any sort of disappointment. By that I mean mold, bugs, whatever. Although again, it feels good, looks good. We will see later on, but I'm going to get these into the house soon. And then there's still some more ears on here, actually, believe it or not. And hopefully these will all be good and edible, unlike my first year where it was a total disaster. So far, the raccoons haven't found the corn, which I'm really grateful for. So that's about all I'm going to talk about the veg garden today. Again, I'm going to do a full-blown garden tour on Monday, where we'll talk about every single bed and all the stuff that's growing, stuff that's not growing, why it may not be growing, etc., etc., etc. There are changes obviously happening here in the veg garden with crops going out and new crops hopefully will be going in sometime soon. So again, there's all that to talk about. Again, that'll be Monday. Let's go talk about the flower garden. Now the flower garden is undergoing some changes as well. Nothing structural or big, but things like the gladiolus are going over now. They're almost done. And other things are starting to come fully into bloom. So I'm thinking maybe next Friday we'll do a tour of the flower garden. We'll see what's blooming, what's not blooming. The dahlias are doing awesome right now. And the front garden is starting to develop more. with some of the plants getting a little more mature, a little fuller, so that's kind of exciting. So I'm thinking next Friday, so Monday we'll do the veg garden tour, next Friday we'll do the flower tour, and I think that will basically take care of next week. Maybe I'll throw a short in there someplace. We'll see how things go. The puppy has been keeping me up quite a bit at night, and a little sleep deprivation has got me a little rattled some days. Last night I got a full 5 hours of sleep, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go take now a quick look at the rose garden. Yeah, I know this isn't the rose garden, this is the dahlia beds. But I just wanted to stop here and just say, wow, I mean, the dahlias, again, they're doing really well. I'm pretty happy with them this year. Hopefully this keeps on going. I'm gonna have to do some fertilizing about that soon. So what I think I'll do is sometime, not next week obviously, but the following week or the week after, I'm going to do a dahlia garden tour, and I'll be talking about the fertilizing I've done and how the dahlias are growing. But yeah, wow. Now the rose garden I haven't talked much about really in the last year and a half or so. I think I've done maybe 1 or 2 videos concerning the rose garden. I think only 1 video this year so far. And that was about constructing the rose tower. The rose tower itself is doing great. The climbing rose itself is starting to grow and do its climbing thing. I had a couple of flowers, but unfortunately the deer turned around and got into the garden area and wound up eating those flowers. Thankfully not much else, because the rose has all the thorns, so I'm really not concerned about the rose bouncing back. And getting into the hot part of the summer here, we're already into July, August just gets that much hotter. The roses sort of go dormant. Not really dormant, but they don't put on a lot of growth. And I don't fertilize them during that time period. I'll probably do their last fertilizing in September, depending upon how the weather is. But once the weather starts calming down, getting below 90 really, that's probably when I'll do the last fertilization for the year. Let them fill out a little bit and do some more flowering. Now, all that being said, many of you guys who watch the channel or have watched the channel for a long period of time, you know that I have a deer problem. Well, the stupid little string fencey thing that I had up is really useless. I've kind of known it's useless for a long time. The deer either push their way through it or they just do a quick hop over it, either way. And I've tried a bunch of different products, and I have a bunch of new products that I want to try too coming up so far as the deer are concerned. So this upcoming week, veg garden, flower garden, and then the following week I think it's going to be the dahlia bed, and then the rose garden. We're going to start getting back into the rose garden, and hopefully, if all goes well, we're going to see, you guys are going to see a lot more videos with the rose garden. So if you like roses and you want to see the rose garden grow and develop more, that's what you're going to see. Again, last year I kind of ignored the rose garden altogether, and it became a giant weedy mess, and it's still a bit of a weedy mess, but it's not as bad, believe it or not, as it used to be, because I was focusing all my attention on the flower beds. This year, again, now it's later than I'd like it to be, but here we are, the rose garden. I'm going to start tackling this more and more over the next few months, and because I do want to make some changes here, I want to add some more plants to it. I have roses that I grew from cuttings last fall that I think are ready to go into the ground, so I want to get them planted. That probably won't happen until September, October, but that's coming up. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to do some more videos concerning the rose garden, changes that'll be happening to the rose garden, and of course, I'll be giving my personal opinions on some various products to keep deer away from the roses and the rose garden. Yeah, so the deer wars continue. That's really the updates for today. I just want to let you guys know, because 4th of July I put out a really video, but it was just something I wanted to put out. I just wanted to show you guys, some of the photos I've taken. A lot of those photos, if you saw the video that I put out right before the 4th of July, they were photos that I've posted up on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, give a follow on Instagram. I often post up pictures there that stuff you won't see here. A lot of close-up photos I try to get, because I think, looking at a garden from a distance and seeing all the beautiful colors and the shapes is fantastic. But if you get up close to the flowers, you can see the bees on the flowers, you can watch them work, you get to see some of the beautiful colors, how light comes through a petal or a leaf. Oh, that's again a lot of the stuff I try to post up over on Instagram. If you don't want to sign up for Instagram because you got too many social media things going on, head over to growinggreenfinger.com. Scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and I often have pictures there from, they're mirrored from Instagram, so you don't have to sign up for Instagram. You can just go to growinggreenfinger.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see all the photos there. Yeah, I mean, I've just been standing here for a few minutes and I'm already a sweaty mess. Like I said, it's going to be a hot one today, and a lot of the moisture that was in the ground, that is still in the ground, is just going to be evaporating for the next day or two, and we might be getting rain over the weekend, which is only going to add to the misery. Welcome to the South. That being said, a lot of the plants are really enjoying this heat and moisture, and they're really blooming and taking off. There's a lot of stuff happening here in the garden. My garden is growing. Hopefully your garden is growing too. Sophie wanted me to remind you guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified of when I do post a new video. Again, this way you don't miss that dahlia garden tour or the veg garden tour or any of the tours that are coming up. It's hot out. She's now fixated on a butterfly that's flying over by the verbena. You want to go get it? Go get it. So that's going to wrap it up for today. We're going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. Come here, Sophie.